What's up, guys? John Killingsworth here, aka Nameless, as you know me. And today I want to do a quick video about the topic of going through a crisis, going through a life transition, going through a very disturbing negative event in your life, whatever that might happen, whatever that might be. Could be quarter life crisis, midlife crisis, existential crisis, life crisis, whatever crisis. Let's just call it broadly like a crisis. And basically, why it could be a good thing? Well, most people, when shit hits the fan, they usually turn the other way. They ignore that event. They ignore whatever negative emotions that are happening to them, and they just suppress and repress all those negative emotions. And what happens when you do that is that you don't learn from the crisis. You don't learn from the event. And the reason why the crisis is happening, whatever it be, quarter life crisis, whatever crisis I've been talking to you about, the crisis is happening because it's trying to teach you something. Okay? Everything happens for a reason. That's what I believe. Like the most negative things, okay, that could happen to you, the worst of things that you think are so unfair to you. Maybe you break up with your girlfriend. Maybe your parents, they want to abandon you, they kick you out of the house, or you don't get admitted into your dream program at university, whatever. That shit happens for a reason. And usually, when a crisis like this happens, it's because some emotion, some need in you was repressed, okay? Maybe, for example, you told yourself, you know what, I'm just going to study, like, in university, I'm only gonna study. I'm not gonna focus on girls. I'm not gonna focus on relationships. Fuck that. I'm just gonna study and get my degree because I wanna get away from it. I just wanna finish that shit. Then you do that. You do that for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and then at some point, it just strikes you. It just strikes you how lonely and miserable you are. It just strikes you like a hammer, like boom in your face. You're like, where the hell did that come from? Well, it came from the fact that 1, 2, 3, or 4 years ago, you ignored a need and you just suppressed it or you repressed it. So instead of addressing the need fully, confronting your shadows, confronting your inner demons, as I like to talk about in the dark side of personal development, instead of doing that, you went away from your demons. You went away from the truth. You went away from who you truly are and what you truly needed at that time. And you rationalized that you did this just because you wanted to study, right? And then you ended up alone. You ended up with no friends, no relationships. Maybe you're super lonely right now. For example, that's just an example. And what is that crisis telling you? When this happens, you realize that thing. Usually that happens, and that type of realization happens a lot with like men who lock themselves up to study, introverted people, kind of, and for example, Asian kids with their parents that give them so much pressure to perform and shit like that. What happens? Well, when this happens, you have to learn the lesson. Okay? When a crisis like this happens, you have to learn the lesson. Confront your inner demons. That's what it's trying to tell you. It's like, okay, well, I feel lonely as shit right now. I have no friends right now. What do I got to do? I got to rethink my priorities. I got to do that thing that I desperately need, right? And no shame in that. You got to go out there, make friends. You got to go out there, meet a girlfriend, whatever that is. And if you don't learn the lesson, what happens? You suppress and you repress it again. And by suppressing and repressing it again, maybe you can suppress it for maybe a few weeks, a few days, maybe even a few months. Some people even a year or two. And then what happens? It strikes again another time, but even stronger than before. Now you're going to feel even worse about yourself because time went on and you didn't address the root cause. You didn't address the issue. Okay? And now 1 to 2 years passed, and now you're 1 to 2 years older, or whatever, how old you are, and you're like, fuck, you wasted all that time instead of addressing that need head on. And some people, what they do, they keep repressing, escaping, suppressing, and they never learn the lesson until they're like 40, 50, 60. Now they have a midlife crisis, which is even worse. And it just gets even worse. It's like, by that time, it's too late already. Like, I don't know what you can do at that time. You know? So, in my opinion, a midlife crisis in the sort of mainstream sense of like you realize you wasted your life away doing shit you don't like, should never happen. It only happens because people are brainwashed by the idea of society, the middle class society, and all those programming that's set on into your head. That's why you end up in a midlife crisis, but that should never happen. This should never happen because you're supposed to learn from that negative event, from that huge emotional turmoil, negative feelings you might experience all of a sudden like a block, you know, that just smashes you on the head. You have to learn. So why am I talking about this is because, well, let me just see if I can switch the camera. Oh, fuck, I can't. Anyways, but I was reading this book called Letting Go by David Hawkins, The Pathway of Surrender. And there was a part in the book that's very interesting where he talks about transition phases and how you can learn from a crisis. And he says on the book that, I'm just going to quote here from page 44, one benefit from a life crisis is greater self-awareness. The situation is overwhelming and we're forced to stop all of our diversionary games, take a good look at our life situation, and reevaluate our beliefs, goals, values, and life direction. It is an opportunity to reevaluate and let go of guilt. There's also an opportunity for a total shift in attitude. Life crises, as we pass through them, confront us with polar opposites. Right, as I told you, like a life crisis happens really to confront you with the truth. That's what it is. Shall we hate or forgive that person? Shall we learn from this experience and grow, or resent it and become bitter? Do we choose to overlook the other person's shortcomings and our own, or instead do we resent and mentally attack them? Shall we withdraw from a similar situation in the future with greater fear, or shall we transcend this crisis and master it once and for all? Do we choose hope or discouragement? Can we use the experience as an opportunity to learn how to share, or shall we withdraw into a shell of fear and bitterness? Every emotional experience is an opportunity to go up or down. Which do we choose? That is the confrontation. Okay. Now he talked a bit about like confrontation with another person. You know, maybe a crisis happens because a relationship fell apart, but not just with people, but also with events, right? With your life situation in general. Maybe, as I said, maybe you didn't get the job you wanted. Maybe you realize that your job fucking sucks, and then crisis hits. And you realize that you're going to be stuck there for a long time unless you change, but you're too afraid to change, you're too unconfident to change, you're too unsure of yourself, you're too lonely to change, you're too lazy to change, whatever limiting beliefs. Okay, you have to confront that fucking truth. And then you grow or you go down from that experience. Now, what's going to be the choice? What's going to be your choice? Are you going to grow from that negative event? Or are you going to go down? Most people, they spiral down, they get worse. Or they repress it, suppress it, and then it strikes again, as I said. And life will keep striking you and keep striking you and keep striking you until you learn the lesson. Until you learn the lesson. So don't despair. That's what I want to say. If shit hits the fan, stay calm, you know. Meditate, to make sure you journal, make sure you reflect, take some time off and reflect about the direction of your life. Okay, this happened to me. I don't like my fucking job. What does that mean about my life situation? What does that mean about my future? What does that mean about the rest of my life? What am I going to do with the rest of my life? Okay, reflect about those things. Oh, that relationship went to shit. Okay, so what does that say about what kind of people I like to hang out with? What does that say about my values and what I value in a person? Do they value the same thing that I do? No. Therefore, lesson, what's the lesson there? The lesson is that, oh, I value XYZ, that person values another thing, fuck that person. That's the lesson, okay? So distill the lesson from that event, and really, once you learn that, you become unstoppable. No one can stop you. You become this force to be reckoned with, you know? That's why I talk a lot about knowing who you are, knowing what you value, discovering your life purpose, because that is the only way, really, that you can become, and maybe not the only way, but one of the best ways, really, to become immune to any type of crisis event, negative event that might happen in your life. Because if you know who you are, you know what you stand for, like, I mean, this is internal. This will never change. This will never disappear from you, okay? You know, you could lose a relationship, you could lose money, maybe you could lose your job, but you could never lose that integrity. You can never lose your sense of who you are and your sense of what you stand for. You can never lose that. And if you're unsure about all those things, and if you want to discover those things, and you think you're going through a crisis point and you think you might need some clarification on that in order to move forward in your life, then I want you to book a free one-on-one consultation call with me where I'll help you to uncover all that mess. And all you have to do is click on the link below. There's going to be a link in the description, and I'm going to try to put a link in the comments too, where you just click there, you fill out the quick survey, watch the quick video, and yeah, just make sure you fill out everything, because I can't take every single applicant. I have to make sure that you're really committed to change. And for that reason, there might be some people that I won't accept, and I'm sorry about that, but that's just how it is. But really, if I see that you're someone who's serious about change, who's willing to really make a serious commitment, serious change in your life, and overcome that crisis in your life, then I want to work with you, right? And then you'll be invited to join my 30-day mentorship program. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions about that video, whatever you want to ask, leave it down below. And don't forget to sign up for a free call with me. And I'll see you next time. Peace.